A couple weeks ago, I did a podcast with the one and only Ari Gutman, who is another investing YouTube creator with a lot of great content on his channel. And if you've been following my channel, you're probably familiar with Ari's as well. And it was my first podcast ever, so I was a little nervous at times, but I talked all about my investing journey and how I ultimately grew my Robinhood account from $0 up to now about 80,000. But I started out doing it the completely wrong way. Basically everything I did was the exact opposite of how you're supposed to make money in the stock market and build wealth over time. So if you missed that podcast, I kind of wanted to tell my story again with some added details and how I was able to grow my account to where it's at today. So I started investing, or trading really, when I was in college back in 2017, and I wasn't working full-time throughout the year. I would only work during my off semesters. So I would make a few $1,000s at a time, then essentially use all that money that I earned for the next semester of college. Then any money that was left over after paying tuition and housing, I would just throw into my Robinhood account and basically just gamble on random stocks. So I only had $2,000 or $3,000 in my Robinhood account at this time. And this is what I mean when I say I did everything wrong. I knew next to nothing about stocks and how they worked and had zero experience with trading. So I was quite literally the definition of a degenerate gambler. I would put money into a random penny stock or a meme stock and then play the hope strategy where you buy shares of a stock you know nothing about and cross your fingers that it will go up the next day or the next week. So as you can imagine, this strategy really only worked probably 10% of the time or less. I was most likely better off just going to Vegas and attempting to win in blackjack or even roulette. And there were some times where I'd make a little bit of money, like $1,000 in a week. But then when I'd make $1,000, every single time I would lose $2,000 or $3,000 the next week. But I really wanted to be that cool young trader that can turn a few $1,000s into $50,000 or $100,000 within just a few weeks of trading, and then roll up at the start of a new semester in a fresh Lamborghini. I really did have the completely wrong mindset and wrong understanding of what the stock market is. I looked at it like this addicting game where you lose 90% of the time, but I just kept playing it. So this went on for quite a while where I'd make a little bit of money and get super excited about it, then shortly after lose even more. And it got so bad to the point where my account was down 76% at its all-time low with about a $10,000 loss. So it was at the time of this huge loss where I basically sold out of everything, and I had to tell myself, I had to stop and say, this way of doing it simply just doesn't work. At least for someone like me who's just an average guy. I thought if I actually want to make money and build wealth in the stock market, I have to do the tried and true way that works for just about anyone. And that's when I started to learn all about the fundamentals of long-term investing and diversifying into quality companies and quality funds that will eventually guarantee you a positive return as long as you stay invested over a significant period of time. I also started to learn a lot more about dividend-paying stocks, dividend investing, and the importance of the dividend reinvestment plan, also known as DRIP. And as I was going through this process of learning all these important elements of long-term investing, I decided to make this channel to share my knowledge and experience with all of you. Now, does it suck that I lost $10,000 that set me back a couple of years? Of course. But I am really grateful that I had this $10,000 lesson so I can take what I learned from these mistakes and use it as an example of why it's so important to simply just be patient and stay invested for the long term versus short-term trading. But there's another reason why sharing all this is so important. If you look at my own trajectory and where I started investing back in 2017, if I were to have started out the right way by investing into quality stocks and ETFs with compounding returns, and if I consistently bought into them every month instead of trading and losing, my account right now would have been at about $146,000 instead of $80,000. So if you look at it in more of an opportunity cost way, I technically lost a lot more than that $10,000. And that's another reason why I wanted to share the kind of rocky start to my investing journey, just so you don't make the same mistakes I did and lose or miss out on tens of thousands of dollars. I wanted to be really transparent with you guys today, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.